What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Backyard Barbecuing. All right, so we made it here to the rib competition. Let me get you guys a look around here, see what we can see. Everybody's getting set up still. I'm gonna start butchering up some ribs and then we'll check back in. All right, what's going on, everybody? This is a quick check-in. I know the volume probably isn't too good, but yeah, I forgot my mic, so we're not using a mic today. But anyway, yeah, the turnout's real nice out here. We probably got about 10 other competitors besides me, and I season these ribs like I normally do. Hit it with Rob's Mate first, and then I put the train wreck. So here we are. It's really smoky. Got a couple of chunks of wood in there. But anyway.
Well,
all right, so this is the ones we're turning in here. Let you guys know how they taste. All right, I'll let you guys know who the winner is. So that was the extent of the footage that I got from that competition. I had decided during it that since this was my first one, I didn't want to spend too much time recording and wanted to focus more on the actual cook. So with that said, I can tell you guys the results of the competition and things that I'm going to change for next time maybe. I placed fourth in the competition, so unfortunately out of the top three, so I didn't get to receive a trophy. But I learned a lot of things from my first competition. Some of those things I might share with you during this video. For example, you're out there for a really long time. Not only do you gotta prepare for the cook, but you gotta also prepare to wait. There's a lot of waiting, and sometimes it can get a little bit boring. So you find yourself constantly opening lids and checking meat, and you don't really want to do that. You don't do that at home, so you don't really want to do that at a competition. So definitely something that I would do next time is I would bring a bunch of stuff to keep me occupied, keep the people that are there helping occupied. But with that said, let me show you exactly what I did at the competition. So here is some spare ribs. Well, they're cut down already into St. Louis, and just to kind of save some time, I went ahead and just picked up some St. Louis. But for the competition, I did get some spare ribs and then cut them down into St. Louis cuts. Then what I did is I wanted to shape these things real nice. So you see that flat meat, go ahead and cut that down. Give it to Max if he's sitting next to you. Fat here that we want off. So speaking of the fatty rib, one of the remarks that was given to me was that the meat was slightly fatty. So I thought I did a decent job cutting down most of the fat, but apparently not to the judge's liking. So next time, maybe cut them down a little more. And then we're gonna kind of shape them up. And then we took off these last ribs here. Down, shape that. And then we come back, trim up any loose stuff. Then, like always, we're gonna take off this membrane. Rip down that membrane. And with that said, I went ahead and of course hit it with some Rob's Mate as a base coat. Now, one of the remarks that I did get from these ribs were that they are actually very flavorful. So shout out to Rob if you're watching this one. I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you guys can check out his store. Highly recommend his products. Let's shave that down here. And then we'll go ahead and hit it with a nice base coat of this Rob's Mate. Get the edges, kind of pat that in. And then of course, we went with the train wreck rub. So because I've been doing rib videos for these past couple of ones, I might take a break from them. I was just getting ready for the competition and I figured I'd bring you guys along with me. I do have some more planned, but we'll save those for later. Gonna pat that in. And then our presentation side, go ahead and hit it with Rob's Mate. And then come back over the top with our train wreck. So while we let that kind of set in, we got the pit ready. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we threw in a couple of chunks of some post oak just to get a little bit of smoke flavor on them. And now that this barrel's nice and heated up, I had decided for the competition that I would hang the ribs sideways. So that way they didn't cook uneven. The heat would kind of evenly cook them instead of cooking too much of the bottom, since that was hanging closer to the heat source. But we're gonna go ahead and let them go. And then I'll take you guys to the next step. All right, so here's our quick update. We've been rocking for a couple of hours now, and we can see now that our bark is nice and set. So I'm gonna close this up while I go get ready and take you guys to our next step. All right, so now that we've got our ribs out, I went ahead and laid down a few knobs of butter. That's exactly what we did for competition. And I've got 2 layers of foil down. And we'll just kind of set these ribs right on the top. Then we're gonna make a little foil boat for them. Got a couple of more knobs of butter here. Throw those right on top. Like I said, kind of make a foil boat real quick, because now we need to add in some liquid, just some regular old apple juice. Just a little bit in there, just to give it some steam. And we'll just fold this real nice and tight. All right, so now that we've got them folded up real tight, I'm going to take the grate and put it in the barrel after I add in a couple lumps of charcoal, and then we're just gonna let them steam for a little while, and I'll check back in with you guys. Okay, so as you guys can see, I put my charcoal on one side and I laid my ribs down kind of indirect. I pulled them early without having the rib kind of pull back, because I was really focused on color. I found that when you leave them on a little bit too long and the rib pulls back, my color got a little bit too dark. So instead I pull them early and wrap them. So that was my method for the competition. Now let's see how these turn out. All right, so these things are now temping at about 206 degrees or so. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open them up. So we'll do this real carefully because it's pretty hot in here. We'll open them up. And I've got the cotton gloves underneath the latex. We'll just grab them, feeling nice and tender. Flip them over, take a look at that color. That's what we were going after. First things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just hit it with a bunch of honey. So we'll just squirt honey all over this thing. And it doesn't add too much flavor, I've found. You don't get too much sweetness from it. Then we're gonna go on with the Rob's frog sauce, one of my favorite barbecue sauces from Rob. Check out his website. Again, I'll link it in the description. Again, the honey doesn't really add too much sweetness, but what I found is it adds a lot of stickiness to the ribs, something I really enjoy. And we're just gonna cover it with some Rob's. I used a brush last time, but couldn't find the brush. So we'll just kind of go ahead and kind of move the Rob's around as we need to. And that's looking pretty good. So let's close the lid up and let that barbecue sauce set for about 30 minutes. All right, so here is the end product. We let this thing tack up, not as much as I'd like to, but it's still great color. Now I'm ready to just cut into it. We've got flies going crazy out here right now. So the way that I cut it is I got really close to one bone and then really close to the other. So you kind of sacrifice two bones, because this one, as you can see, the bone, it's cut really close to it, but it's good eating, you know, for people that are sitting there, but not good for judges. Again, that one, you kind of sacrifice it, but what you're left with, a really nice rib that has a lot of meat on it. And something I wanted to turn into the judges. The feedback that I got, that it was a really good presentation, really nice looking rib, very flavorful, but slightly fatty. So, but let's go ahead and give this thing a nice bite. That is some good flavor. Just like they said, clean bite through. Very clean bite through. And just delicious. Nice clean bone. Got the end left. There it is. Really fun cook. I had a really good time. My next competition, I think I'll try and include you guys a whole lot more. But I had a really good time. So yeah, I'm gonna step back from the ribs for a little while just so I can kind of change up the content. And I do hope that you guys are enjoying everything that I put out. But until next time, peace.